Hello everyone, my name is Shivani Tyagi, your current affair teacher, and today I'm back with few current affairs which are very important because इन्हीं सारी न्यूज में से there are lots of prelims questions and main questions that are asked, and we are going to discuss those also after comparing these news. Now, when we talk about poison, we think that poison might be something very expensive and very rare. But what if I tell you that there are certain poisons that are available in this world which can be extracted from our daily lives? So when we talk about ricin, so basically ricin is made from castor beans. It is extracted, exactly the same castor oil that we use in our daily house. So it is extracted from those beans. बनता कैसे है ये? जब इसके बनने की बात करते हैं तो बेसिकली जो बीन्स हमारी होती है when we press them, so oil is extracted, right? And after extracting the oil, the that beans which are left behind, that waste which is left behind, we use that to form the ricin poison. Now it is made from the waste left over, and it even a few grains can kill. अगर इतना पोर्शन भी हम लेते हैं तो it can kill you. And let me tell you one thing, there is no antidote of this. If you are taking it, you are going to die. This is for sure, right? So Gujarat ATS found few like people who were making this kind of poison to spread the terror, right? And including a doctor in them. So imagine a society where you are living with your people, and there are like few people who are living with you, and they are like spreading these kinds of things among you. तो उनका प्लान ये था कि गुरुद्वारे में, मंदिर में जो प्रसाद होता है उसमें they are going to spread this poison. Now imagine this kind of terror. And ricin is not only used in India. I'll give you examples. I'll tell you stories also where this ricin is used, to spread this terror, to assassinate few peoples, and people are assassinated through this poison. Like there are lots of cases. Now coming out that why it is dangerous. It is dangerous because it is easily extracted anywhere. Anyone can make it. As I've given you example also, you just have to take castor seeds, and after extracting the oil, whatever the posture, whatever the matter is left behind, that is ricin, right? Low cost hai, anyone can like extract it, right? And highly toxic. Even if this amount, if you are taking it at the size of beans, right, it can kill you. And as I said, there is no antidote of this. Now it can be misused as chemical biological weapon also, as they were doing, as people who were like taken in the custody, as Gujarat EDs find out those people, and including a doctor. I have to mention it again and again because these kinds of people are living in our society. And this is listed under Chemical Weapons Convention because there are lots of cases seen where people are assassinated, where this poison is used to spread the terror. This is why it is listed under Chemical Weapon Convention. Now when we talk about that how and why it works, so basically when it enters the body, what cells do, they make the protein. So उसका opposite ही ये करवाता है, cells को protein बनाने के लिए रोक देता है. Now if our body is not making protein, what will happen? Our organs will stop running, right? Stop working. So this is what this ricin do. So it stops them to making the protein, and then our organs fails. Now if you are basically inhaling it, if you are inhaling it, then it will impact your lungs. If you are injecting it, then it will work more faster, and it will affect your body, whole body, in a lot and more crucial manner. Now coming to that, the its relevance to the UPSC. So when we talk about prelims, so there is like facts and science that is comparing it with. So ricin is a toxic protein from castor beans, right? This you have to learn, and there are lots of questions that are asked in prelims recently also. So it blocks protein synthesis in cells, and it can be inhaled, eaten, or injected. As I've explained to you, there are certain organs which work in that way, and if you are inhaling it, then it will affect your lungs first. If you are eating it, then it will affect your digestion system. If you are injecting it, then it will affect you faster, in more faster way than these two way. Then there is no antidote, as I explained it to you, and it is listed under chemical and biological weapon in international laws also, because there are people who used it, tried it, assassinated few people using this poison. Now for mains, why it is important? Because it is a concern, it is a topic of internal security, right? Because no traditional threats and chemical and biological terrorism, right? This spreads biological terrorism. And then in science and tech, it is included because it tells us the dual use of nature of science. Then same plant used for medicine and poison, right? So this is a dual nature. Then in governance also, it is tells us the role of the ATS, as I've explained it to you, that ATS arrested few people who were using this poison to spread the terrorism, right? So international relations mein how it is important, it tells us that India's commitment under the Chemical Weapon Convention, right? How it is coming under this category. So these kinds of things are very important for these news. Now, in PYQs, what kind of questions came through these? So anthrax is also the same kind of chemical like ricin. So instead, like in 2015, this question was asked. So instead of anthrax, we can ask, write the ricin also, and you have to write the answer to this. You can write the answer in the comment box. I'll be replying to the answers. In GS 2009, the question came that what is the biological weapon convention, which I've explained it to you, right? So these kinds of questions which are relevant, right, to ricin are coming up. So make sure that you are reading it and analyzing the PYQs also. Now in May's GS paper 3, what are the possible security implication of drones in India, in which you can give example of this biological weapon, BWC. Now what are the possible security implication of uncontrolled proliferation of drones in India? So these kinds of questions and examples and references that you can give in mains also. So there were like lots of questions that came. I think there were 10 to 15 questions that were like, you know, coming up with these things. So if you want, I can come with the PDF also and we'll share, discuss the questions. But yes, these are the main questions that came up with relevant to these news. Now coming up to the next news. Next we have India records world's largest rise in emission. UNEP reports 2025. Okay, now what UNEP is? Basically United Nations emission program, right? So it annually comes with a report, emission gap, emission gap report, which tracks global greenhouse gases, right? That how much gases we are basically emitting, right? It basically keeps a tracks on it, that which country is emitting, like how much gas it is emitting, right? So when we talk about this, Paris Agreement, do you remember in 2015, a Paris Agreement was signed like between the countries, right? So what was the goal of this Paris Agreement? So basically it was like decided, it was promised that the temperature will rise below 2 degrees Celsius and aim like preferably it will keep it like below 1.5 degrees Celsius, right? So this was said and this was promised in agreement, in Paris Agreement, right? Now every country submits NDCs, national determined contribution, but UNEP monitors whether these countries are achieving their targets or not. और इसी जो annual report में हमारा अभी सामने आया है कि हमने वो target achieve किया है या नहीं किया है. So now about talking about India. So India recorded the world's largest absolute rise in GHG emission, which is greenhouse gas. So basically, don't be scared. It's not like that we are like highest producing of emitting. We are like highest emitting gases. The thing is that as compared to the last year, right? So we are emitting more gases, right? So basically it grew from like 3.6 degrees Celsius, and Indonesia had the like fastest percent, that is 4.6%, right? So now India's per capita emissions is still below the global average, but as compared to the last year, it is like rising more. It is as compared to last year, it is like seen the percentage is rising above. So what is this absolute rise? That India did the highest total increase in emission compared to the last year, as I've explained it to you. Then the dilemma that India is facing, which can come in ethics in case study also, as when we talk about ethics case study, lots of questions are like more analytical and critical these days, right? They don't want to know that if you know these definitions or not. And especially about case studies, make sure that you are practicing it enough through these news. Now the dilemma that India is facing, what kind of dilemma it is facing? That India needs growth in jobs and electricity for all, right? And also India was promised that they will get like 100 billion per year for the development. अब तुम ना डेवलपमेंट करने दे रहे हो, राइट? एंड यू आर ऑल्सो टेलिंग देम दैट यू हैव टू प्रिजर्व द क्लाइमेट एंड यू हैव टू स्टॉप दिस डेवलपमेंट. सो दिस इज द डायलेमा दैट इंडिया इज फेसिंग, द डायलेमा बिटवीन क्लाइमेट एंड एनवायरनमेंट, राइट? सो अब इस डायलेमा को हटाने के लिए व्हाट इंडिया हैव टू डू, दे हैव टू लाइक stop this development, right? And India is facing issue with that because already उनको लगता है कि वो बहुत पीछे चल रहे हैं, and because of this dilemma they have to stop this. This is the key challenge that India is facing, right? So उस चीज को बैलेंस करने के लिए हम क्या कर सकते हैं, that also we are going to discuss. So what report said that even if all countries meet their climatic these NDCs, still we are left behind. ऐसा क्यों चल रहा है? क्योंकि basically even if all countries do what they have promised, right? What did they promise? कि हम लोग 2.3 डिग्री सेल्सियस से कम रखेंगे, बिलो रखेंगे, एंड प्रेफरेबली 1.3 डिग्री सेल्सियस, राइट? दिस वाज प्रॉमिस्ड राइट. सो बेसिकली अभी भी अगर हमारा देखा जाए, इट इज बेसिकली राइजिंग फ्रॉम 2.3 degree Celsius, and it's going to go from like 2.3 to 2.5. So even if we maintain this, we are still going to have hotter environment, right? Floods are going to be seen. All the environment crises that are going to arise because of this emitting gases, right? They are going to be seen because of this, right? So why this matter? Even small percent of growth, big total rise for a large economy, right? वो उस चीज पर अफेक्ट करेगी, चाहे हम कितना भी उस चीज को प्रिजर्व करने की कोशिश करें. Now, how and what India can do, right? So as developed nations polluted for 100 years, अभी ये इंडिया बोलती है because now these rich countries, like they polluted this environment for 100 years. They developed their countries. They did for their countries whatever they wanted to do, right? Now, because now it's our time to be developed and to make our country more resourceful, now they want to stop us in the name of environment. This is what India is saying, right? So this is the like difference between justice and equality. So developed countries should lead and support others. This is what India is saying, as it was like promised to give 100 billions, right? अब वो बोल रहे हैं तुम 100 बिलियंस भी हमें नहीं दे रहे हो और हमारी डेवलपमेंट भी रोक रहे हो, ठीक है? तो ये डायलेमा इंडिया को फेस करना पड़ रहा है. क्या हो सकता है? देयर कैन बी लाइक बैलेंस्ड अप्रोच दैट कुड बी डन विद इंडिया, बाय इंडिया, राइट? क्या क्या हो सकता है? हम लोग रिन्यूएबल सोर्सेज यूज कर सकते हैं, लाइक सोलर, विंड्स, हाइड्रो एंड कोल. आज भी 50% ऑफ आवर इलेक्ट्रिसिटी इज जनरेटेड थ्रू कोल, राइट? अभी कोल प्रोड्यूस तो करते हैं इलेक्ट्रिसिटी, बट इट ऑल्सो गिव्स अस कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड, राइट? एंड बेसिकली ग्रेजुअली एनर्जी एफिशिएंसी और इलेक्ट्रिक व्हीकल्स एंड क्लीन ट्रांसपोर्ट, इट कैन हेल्प अस अगर हम ये कोल थोड़ा कम यूज करना शुरू कर देंगे तो. दिस इज द अनदर important stand that we can take, right? And submit full emission data under Paris Agreement, as it was said to us that India did not submit proper data to Paris Agreement yet, right? So अब ये UPSC में मेंस एनालिसिस में कैसे काम आता है? This tells us, gives us development versus environment dilemma, right? Which can come in case studies also, which can come in ethics also, and there are lots of questions that are asked. And according to me, this question will come. So make sure that you are preparing it properly. Now, coming to the questions that are asked related to this topic. So prelims mein there is a question with reference to the United Nations Environment Programs, UNEP, consider the following statement, and then you have to click the answer to it. Make sure that you are reading and understanding and knowing the history of UNEP term. So it is like linked to its publishing emission gap report, right, which we have discussed now. प्रीलिम्स में बहुत सारे क्वेश्चंस हैं जो इसी टॉपिक पर आए हैं, एंड देयर आर क्वेश्चंस दैट केम फ्रॉम मेंस आल्सो. मेंस में क्या क्या क्वेश्चंस आए हैं? Okay, so there are lots of questions that came from prelims on these topics, and as I said, this dilemma question, this comes like every time. There is like 1 to 2 questions that comes from environment and basically development, right? So make sure that you are understanding it, because this is a like big issue, right? हर साल ये रिपोर्ट आती है और हर साल हमें एथिक्स में देखने को मिलता है ये क्वेश्चन. So make sure that you are covering it properly. So there is these 2 questions which I have like given to you on the board. So make sure that you are writing the answer, and whoever comes with the answer, the correct answer, I'll come with the name on the board. And make sure that you're reading these news with proper analysis and implementing.